In this video, I'm going to teach you 3 attacking strategies that always work. These are proven, effective, and if you master them, you'll dominate your opponents every time. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end of this video because we have a free resource on exactly how to make sure your opponents aren't using these attacks against you. The first attack that always works is the across the body attack when you are on the right side of the court. What ball am I looking for? I'm looking for a net high ball or a little bit higher on my forehand side. And when I'm on this side, since I have an opponent in front of me that is usually a right-handed player, I'm actually going to swing this ball across my body to their chicken wing on the outside of their right hip. Why this shot works and why it's really effective is because if my opponent is a right-hander, they are going to be protecting their body and they're going to also have to protect her down the line as well. So in this attack, as I'm coming across my body, I'm actually shooting that ball towards their dominant side, which usually forces a chicken wing or a late contact on their forehand. Now let's talk about what happens if they get this ball back. Remember, the higher level that you play, your opponents will get the ball back more often. So as I set up after this attack, I'm going to set up my counter on my backhand side, okay? Typically, when I attack across the body like this and I'm attacking their dominant side, their counter attack, whether they're late on their forehand or whether I chicken wing them, is typically gonna come through the middle or kind of in this area. So after this attack, I like to set up with a two-handed backhand or just a one-handed punch volley. So if you can hit this shot effectively, this shot literally works 90% of the time. But what happens if they're sitting on their forehand side? Well, in that case, I want you to make sure that you have a second attacking option to keep them honest. So the other attack that I'll use to set up this first one is I'll take that same ball at net high or a little bit higher, and I'm going to do an off-pace attack down the line to their backhand. This is a really good one to mix in along with the first attack because instead of them actually expecting an attack at their chicken wing, now I'm attacking down the line low, making them reach for a backhand volley. So if you can actually mix these two attacks on this same exact ball, it's going to be really, really difficult for your opponent to read which one is coming their way. Before we move on to the second attack that always works, if you would like a complete free masterclass on attacking from the non-volley zone line, go check out the link in the description below or go to attackmasterclass.com. The second attack that I want to show you and talk about that could be absolutely deadly to your opponents is the backhand flick or roll down the line. Now, when I'm on the left side of the court and I could get a ball maybe slightly below the net or at net level, it's really smart for me to go down the line with my attack because the player in front of me, if they're a right-handed player, that attack will be towards their chicken wing or dominant side. So again, I'm looking for a little bit of a higher ball. This could come from a dink that is hit by my opponent in front of me, but it works particularly well when there's a cross-court dink. As that ball comes towards me across my body, I can lean in here with my backhand and then I can flick or roll this shot straight down the line, and it is very, very difficult for the opponent to read. In this particular attack, you have to understand that location is everything, especially when that ball is a little bit below the net. I'm not trying to hit it as hard as I can. I'm just trying to hit a very specific location. So in this case, I'm aiming a foot or two outside of their right hip. And when we talk about the counter attack or the chance of them getting it back, it is low, but how do I set up for my next counter? Well, just like the first attack, I'm going to be attacking their dominant side, and I'm actually going to expect a counter straight to my chest. So you will see a lot of players actually hit this shot and then slide to their right, or hit the shot and just prep for a backhand really quickly so that they can be on that counter if it comes back. Again, this is a very important shot at higher levels, but players are getting smarter with their defense on this shot. Some players are actually sliding over to cover their dominant side. So as a second option, what you could practice on is actually rolling it to their left side of their body as your opponents are sliding over. And if you see that they have the tendency to cover this shot well or cover their dominant side really well, I'm gonna take my same setup, and at times, instead of going down the line, I'm actually going to redirect it, flick or roll it towards their left side as they are sliding towards their right. This third attack that is highly effective and used by every single pro player that plays the left side of the court is the inside out topspin dink. So what ball am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for any ball that bounces in the non-volley zone or that I can create adequate space for this shot. So for this shot, as a left side player, I'm really looking and seeking for these weaker dead dinks in the middle of the court. From this position, I'm going to drop my paddle tip down, and I'm actually gonna apply some topspin on my dink towards the backhand of the cross-court player. As I hit this ball, I can kind of pin them into that corner, and they don't have a ton of attacking options from that position. Most of the time, you will see them kind of dink right back to the middle, or they're forced to dink straight on to their opponent in front of them. This shot is used by top players like Ben Johns and Federico Staksrud, and no matter what level you are, you can definitely utilize this shot as well. Now let's talk about a second option that you can utilize when you set up for this inside out topspin dink. Because you have actually hit this shot multiple times, this is also the same position I would set up my middle speed up for. So if you can actually mix this in with a middle speed up down the middle, nice and quick and low preferably, this will make it really hard for your opponents to decide which one to cover first. If you actually struggle with those attacks down the middle, here's a video here on counterattacking, and check out the link here if you want to learn how to attack. It's a free masterclass that we created. Go check it out.